What is going on, Misfit Nation? Welcome to your Monday Night Raw review for September the 25th, 2023, right here on the Misfit Wrestling Podcast, where we are going to go over, what I thought was, outside of the Nia Jax stuff and maybe a little bit of Miss TV, was a pretty solid episode of Monday Night Raw for once I actually want to talk about the show. But before we do that, I want you guys to hit that like button, comment down below, hit the subscribe button, youtube.com/@Misfit Wrestling Podcast. You can follow the social medias, Misfit Podcast TV on Twitter, Misfit Wrestling Pod on Instagram. You can also follow or listen to the other audio versions of this podcast up on the Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Google Podcast, Stitcher, and Audible, and of course, Pandora. I don't know which one you guys watch this show, or listen to this show rather, more on. Who knows? We went up last night on the audio outlets with the Pile Driver Pulse episode, talking about all things professional wrestling. We talked about the injury to Utami Hayashita, and we still don't know whether or not she's going to be competing this, Sunday night, Saturday? No, it is the Saturday for the 5-Star Grand Prix. We'll find that out. We'll find out sometime this week whether or not she'll be competing or not. We also went over episodes of SmackDown. No, we didn't go over SmackDown. We went over AEW, Grand Slam, and all that stuff there. We also went over a little bit of Destruction in Koba Hall for New Japan Pro Wrestling. That is up on there. We also have the SmackDown review up on the channel from this past Friday. Actually, I got a big couple of news here for this. SmackDown's viewership, actually, sure, it dropped without The Rock, but it drew over 2.4 million viewers because of one match. IYO SKY and Asuka for the WWE Women's Championship. With that killer of a match that they had this past Friday on SmackDown, drew over 2.4 million people here. It's from WrestleNomics. I'll just read this out here before we go over the Monday Night Raw stuff. WrestleNomics is reporting that SmackDown dropped 13% overall in viewership this week, with 2,227 viewers tuning in at 10% of in the 18 to 49 demographic, with 822,000 viewers in the quarter of the coveted demographic tuning into John Cena's address to the crowd, as well as Asuka's match with IYO SKY. IYO's successful title defense against Asuka ended up being the highest rated quarter hour in overall audience, with the highest rated quarter hour in the 18 to 49 demographic being the show's closing confrontation between Solo Sikoa, Jimmy Uso, and John Cena. The lowest rated quarter hour demographic was the Street Profits match against Rey Mysterio and Santos Escobar, while the lowest segment overall was the Grayson Waller Austin Theory win over the Brawling Brutes. Basically, what I'm saying is IYO and Asuka outdrew the Bloodline and John Cena. And I swear to God, I never want to hear people say that Joshi Wrestling does not draw ever again, because both IYO SKY and Asuka proved that to be a false statement. And congratulations to those two for putting on not only a killer of a fucking match, but drawing in over 2 million people to watch that match. So you guys are awesome. So yes, do that match again. Do that match again at Fastlane and leave Charlotte Flair's, I don't know, make sure she has her plane ticket gets replaced or something. I don't know. Make sure she doesn't show up for Indianapolis next weekend. So yeah. Let's go over to Monday Night Raw here. Monday Night Raw opened up with not the Judgment Day. Well, okay, scratch that. It opened up with Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare. Yes, obviously. What do they want to talk about? At least I think he said that he talked about whatever they wanted to talk about. He says that he's been interrupted 2 weeks in a row trying to get what he needs to say out of his system. He says Jey Uso coming to Raw means someone is heading to SmackDown, and a disgruntled Raw locker room. Well, and he says while he isn't best friends with Jey Uso, he wasn't going to stand by and as the Judgment Day attacked him because helping him was the right thing to do. He calls the Judgment Day toxic. Before the Judgment Day, of course, hits the music. Before, there is a line that I want to say here, a very clever line from Cody Rhodes saying, something tells me we're not in the third inning anymore. Which right there tells you, first off, they're not changing courses with Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns. So you Rock fans that are riding this dude's dick to see this match can shut the fuck up. It's not happening. Secondly, it pretty much all said and done that Cody Rhodes is going to SmackDown. It's kind of obvious at this point that's what's happening here. But the Judgment Day come out, and Balor asks Cody, why does he have to stick his nose in the Judgment Day's business? Damian Priest says they gave Jay the chance to join a real family, but he had to save the day because everything is always about him. Dominik looks to speak, but obviously the boos start raining down at him because everything is always about. I'm trying to read back my statement about Jey Uso here. He basically can't get anything out here. Cody tells him that although he has a real family, they can't stand him, and he has the Judgment Day what happens when Rhea Ripley returns, and all three of them have lost their titles in their matches tonight. Dominik tells Dominik tells Cody to keep Rhea Ripley's name out of his mouth before hopping up on the ring apron with Priest and Balor. Jey Uso comes out from the crowd to back up Cody Rhodes. Then comes Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. And while Judgment Day retreats, while that's happening, from the background, you see JD McDonough come out with two steel chairs, handing them to both, handing one to Balor, and then he and Balor go after the four men in the ring with Dominik Mysterio. Priest is like, come on, guys, doesn't want to do it. But he then gets his ass kicked for his troubles as does that here. I thought the segment, again, set up a lot of things here. Set up the eventual turn that Cody Rhodes is going to go to SmackDown and finish his storyline up heading into for WrestleMania for Roman Reigns. Also setting up Wargames, and I'll talk about Wargames in just a little bit here because the match, they haven't announced Wargames happening, but neither did NXT when they did the NXT TakeOver Houston show in 2017. They didn't announce Wargames was going to be the match until the very first day of, the show. So, yeah. Well, not the very first day. The very first week of November is when they announced, hey, we're going to do Wargames. So, there's that. Otis and Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed defeats Otis in it. And a fun little match here. My favorite part of this entire match was the fans chanting, slapping meat or something like that. But this was, your usual big men slapping meat type of match here. Sirloin beef sons of bitches, as Sean Ross Sapp would call it. Not Reese. I tried to say Bronson Reed's name and Otis at the same time, and I said Reese. Reed and Otis. Reed gets Otis on his shoulders, plants him with a Samoan drop. They then level one another with cross bodies. Otis lands a back suplex, follows it up with a splash into the corner, and then the caterpillar. Then ascends to the middle rope to look for the Vader bomb. Reed moves out of the way, delivers a running senton, and then hits the tsunami splash for the win. Nice little match there. It's nice to see Bronson Reed winning wins on my television screen. That is awesome stuff here. We go to the backstage with the man, Becky Lynch, shining up her NXT Women's Championship. Tegan Nox walks in and Lynch says she expected her to answer the open challenge instead of Natalya last week. Tegan Nox says that she thought she would have let the veteran answer the call. And after offering up some advice, Lynch offers the next shot after Tiffany Stratton this weekend at NXT No Mercy. So I like that they're playing off of this whole thing of the stupid ass decision from Vince McMahon last week, or this was a Vince McMahon call, whether people like to admit or not, that they switched out Tegan Nox, who was supposed to enter the challenge from Becky Lynch last week, the open challenge. It just had to be fucking Natalya. And then they switched it around because Natalya was supposed to wrestle Xia Li on main event, and they switched it around for Tegan Nox to wrestle Xia Li on main event. And I like that they've turned that into a storyline. Triple H knows what the fuck he's doing when it comes to storytelling. So there's that. We got Tommaso Ciampa going to the ring for his match with Ludwig Kaiser. Before that, we seen Natalya bitching and moaning. Tegan Nox saying, you're fucking old. Get in the back of the line. Let other people have a chance, like me, or Xia Li, or a Shayna Baszler, or somebody like that. Adam Pearce makes a number one contenders match for the NXT Women's Championship, Natalya versus Tegan Nox, for later on tonight. Then we got Ludwig Kaiser, Tommaso Ciampa. This match was basically to do two different things here. Set up Ciampa obviously as the next challenger for Gunther, and also tease more dissension in between Imperium. Of course, Tommaso Ciampa gets the win here with a running knee a V-trigger onto Ludwig Kaiser after Giovanni Vinci, I guess, costs Kaiser the match and for the win here. And Gunther looking on, who's not very happy by that outcome here. Becky Lynch comes to the ringside area to join for the commentary team for the Natalya Tegan Nox match. The only note of I have here is Tegan Nox getting "Let's Go Tegan" chants. This match didn't last very long. Thank God it didn't. They go back and forth, exchanging submission holds before Nox fires off a few right hands and an uppercut. She follows it up with a running senton into the corner. Natalya tries to fire back with a power bomb. Tegan Nox sends Natty into the middle rope face first, and then hits the shiniest wizard for the win. Tegan Nox, who win clean, by the way, is going to get a shot at the NXT Women's Championship next week against either Becky Lynch or Tiffany Stratton. And I swear to fucking God, I do not hope to see Natalya complain about having an opportunity when she lost clean. Twice, by the way. She's lost every match she's had so far. She doesn't need a fucking another opportunity here. And then Lynch and Nox stare one another down. This is something Becky Lynch wanted to have. I think this may have been something Becky Lynch tried to pull for again. I'm going to assume that because Becky Lynch wanted to wrestle Tegan Nox last week, and Vince is like, nah, that's not happening, boy. Judgment Day is backstage. We see Damian Priest chewing out JD McDonough after what happened earlier tonight. Makes it clear that he isn't part of this group, and he kicks him out of their backstage area. He said, I don't give a shit who you're friends with. You're not in the Judgment Day. You never will be. Get the fuck out of our locker room. Well, he didn't say those exact foul language words, but that was the extent of what happened there. Seth Rollins comes to the ring here, looking to get an answer from Shinsuke Nakamura. Rollins welcomes the fans to Monday Night. Rollins tells the crowd that if they're sick and tired of Shinsuke Nakamura and his antics as he is, then they would all automatically keep singing Rollins' song. He tells them to do the same. He tells them to do the same. If they think it's time for him to defend his world championship, then he calls out Shinsuke Nakamura unless he wants to move on to another challenger. Nakamura appears on the Tron, says Rollins has many demands. Excuse me. He says he wants nothing more than to be the straw that breaks Rollins' back. Then says that while his stamina is admirable, he has no patience. He says that Rollins showed his hand, and while he has yet to show his, talking about Nakamura, then he formally accepts Rollins' challenge. Calls his shot for the World Heavyweight Championship at Fastlane in a last man standing match. Rollins takes a minute to think it over, and admits Nakamura has played his hand perfectly. Says Nakamura is forgetting one thing, that his back is not a weakness, but rather a strength, and says his family will be the only one ashamed of him that doesn't, if he doesn't give it a all. Then accepts his stipulation and says one of them will be walking out as champion, and says that won't be you, Shinsuke Nakamura. So yeah, it was kind of obvious that we're going to do the last man standing match. It just makes a lot of sense here. This is realistically, if you think about it here, if you want to get the title on Nakamura without Rollins looking terrible in defeat and not having him take the pinfall or him tapping out, last man standing is a perfect way to do that. I did though love the idea of Nakamura winning it via ref stoppage, but not Sami Zayn. Like Kevin Owens won the NXT Championship from Sami Zayn via ref stoppage, but they're gonna go the last man standing. There's a good chance that Nakamura may hopefully win the championship. If not, I kind of don't care to see Nakamura win the title anymore. This is kind of the last chance for me when it comes to Shinsuke as world champion on the main roster here. Then we get Dominik Mysterio defending the NXT North American Championship against Dragon Lee. This was actually a really good match, a damn good match. And it got Dragon Lee over, which I thought was very good here. Dominik delivers some kicks to Dragon Lee's midsection. Dragon Lee fires back with a shoulder tackle. Then a Hurricane Rana sends Dominik to the outside of the ring. He then goes flying over the top rope, level Dominik, then tosses him back into the ring, goes for a pin. Dominik kicks out, clinches in a half Boston Crab. Dragon Lee makes it under the bottom rope to break up the hold before Dominik delivers a DDT on the apron. They go to commercial break. When they come back, Dominik ascends to the top turnbuckle, looks for the frog splash. Dragon Lee gets his knees up, fires off some right hands, and then lands a pair of back elbows to end a kick to Dominik's midsection. Then delivers a drop kick to the face. In the corner, Dominik plants a Michinoku driver. Actually looked really good. Actually, sends him to the into the ropes face first. Dials up the 619, but Dragon Lee ducks out of the way. Delivers a knee to the head, to Dominik's head rather. The pair go back and forth with the right hands before Lee delivers a Hurricane Rana that sends Dominik crashing into the floor. He gets back inside the ring, lands a powerbomb, then goes for a pin. Dominik kicks out. Dragon Lee ascends to the top rope, but Dominik meets him there. Dragon Lee manages to drape him off the turnbuckle, delivers a double stomp off the top rope. Dominik then lands a big frog splash for the win after, Dragon Lee tried to run up to do some type of move here, and Dominik got him. He netted himself on the top turnbuckle, or not the top turnbuckle, the top rope, and got the frog splash for the win. Great performance by Dragon Lee, getting the crowd behind him, and a great showing to get him over with the crowd here for the main roster crowd. And I love that. Maybe WWE is spending too much time on the wrong Latino superstar. Right Right now, Santos Escobar is not doing it for a lot of people here. Dragon Lee may be the person they're looking for. That's just me. And a great showing from Dominik. In my opinion, this may be his best match since WrestleMania with Rey Mysterio. So, what does Dominik do for Saturday? Who knows? He may not even defend the championship. He might have a rematch with Dragon Lee. Who knows? We'll find out tomorrow on NXT. And then, to me, this is where the show I thought was going to take a dive. We unfortunately hear from Nia Jax, and I am not going to talk about it. Zoe Stark tried to interrupt. I wanted her to fight her. Didn't work out very well. Nia Jax won, unfortunately. That's all I'm going to say. Moving on. So there's one thing I actually did like about this Miz TV segment was Miz saying Drew McIntyre is the Batman of WWE and Cody Rhodes is the Superman, and then asked how it felt to be beat by him last week. Doesn't make a lot of sense there. And then the New Day came out. I'm like, oh God, no, not this again. And I just didn't care about the Miz TV segment outside of that. Kofi versus Drew was fine. Nothing too big here. Distraction finish, though, which I thought was very interesting. Ivar came out, beat up Xavier Woods. Kofi gets distracted. McIntyre doesn't even give a shit and hits the Claymore for the win. 1, 2, 3. Drew McIntyre walks up the ramp and lets Kofi Kingston get his ass beat. After Ivar lands a beautiful moonsault, by the way, for a man his size. We go backstage to Gunther, just fucking berating Imperium. Tells Kaiser that Vinci is now his responsibility, and if he messes up, then it not only will Vinci be held accountable, but so will Ludwig Kaiser. Before that, at one point, we've also seen, oh my God, who was it? We've seen the Maxine Dupree thing, where, like, they did something or whatever. It was kind of weird. Main event, we had Judgment Day defending the undisputed tag team titles against, you guessed it, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Well, this match actually was really good. Their match is always good here. So Owens, before the bell rings, Samantha Irvin is trying to do her introductions, but they ain't gonna waste time beating each other up. Owens delivers a DDT onto, I believe it was it was Damian Priest. Tags in Sammy. Sammy delivers a clothesline, rains down some right hands on Damian Priest into the corner. Follows it up with a drop kick, sending an interfering Balor out the ring. Does the same to Priest. Goes flying over the top rope to level on both the Judgment Day. Excuse me. Both members of the Judgment Day get, taken out. They go to commercial break. Once they come back, Zayn delivers a tornado DDT onto Priest, tags in Owens. Balor tags in on his side. Balor and Owens go and fire off right hands of each other here. Follows it up with a series of stomps and a clothesline into the corner, onto the outside before landing a cannonball onto Balor. Back inside the ring, Kevin Owens ascends to the top rope, delivers a frog splash. Owens delivers a step up enziguri, but Balor, now the legal man, sits him onto the turnbuckle. Owens gets Balor on his shoulders, executed a rolling senton. Balor responds with a coup de grace, goes for the pin. Samble's able to break it up. Priest dumps him out the ring before becoming legal into the ring. Priest looks for South of Heaven. Owens escapes. Zayn tags in, delivers a exploder to Priest, follows it up with a hula kick, but Dominik hops on the ring apron, causing a distraction here. Priest looks for a razor's edge, but Zayn escapes, landing a blue thunder bomb, looking for the pin. Balor breaks up the fall. Owens takes out Balor before Dominik takes a cheap shot at Sammy. Priest follows that up with an elevated flatliner, goes for the pin. Sammy kicks out. Dominik argues with the referee, but Jey Uso appears to aid Sammy and Kevin Owens by taking out Dominik Mysterio. JD McDonough then blindsides Jey and works with Dominik to attack him, but Cody Rhodes comes running down to even the odds as officials try to break everything up on the on the outside here. Back in the ring, Owens lands a stunner on Balor. The pair then go tumbling out of the ring. Zayn delivers a hula kick to Priest, but while the referee is distracted, McDonough hits Zayn in the head with one of the tag team titles. Priest goes for the cover. 1, 2, 3, and still your WWE Tag Team Champions, Finn Balor and Damian Priest. After the match, Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso re-emerged after the Judgment Day is celebrating as Owens and Zayn join in. A huge brawl breaks out here. Rhodes, Zayn, Owens, Jey are left standing tall as the show goes off the air. So, a lot of things happened on that few minutes of the show, last 30 minutes of the program. Sets up a lot of things here, and I mentioned Wargames earlier. I know they haven't announced it as a Wargames, but the stars online there, they may add a fifth member to each team here. I don't know where Cody Rhodes plays a part in this here, but not Cody Rhodes. Drew McIntyre plays a part in this at all. But as of right now, it's going to be for Survivor Series, and if they're going to do War Games, it looks like it's going to be Finn Balor, Damian Priest, Dominik Mysterio, JD McDonough versus Cody Rhodes, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, and Jey Uso. If they add Drew McIntyre to the heel team, I don't know who they're going to get for the babyface team. Maybe they get CM Punk. Who knows? Maybe not. CM Punk, by the way, I want to point out, well, I'll get to him in a second here. There was a very interesting thing that happened early on in the show with Rollins here. But other than that, outside of the Nia Jax bullshit that I didn't want to talk about, and maybe a little bit of Miss TV, I thought tonight's episode of Raw was a 8 out of 10. Now, if me being a prick here, if I were to replace the Nia stuff with IYO and Asuka, I would give this show a 9 out of 10. But because Nia Jax was on the show, that 9 went down to an 8. I could have went to a 7, but she didn't overstay her welcome on this show, so it keeps an 8 here. And the CM Punk stuff that I was talking about here. Now Triple H, ever since he took over creative, has been doing this thing of teasing matches and teasing appearances and teasing things that eventually will end up happening. Twice in 2 weeks, a CM Punk reference has happened on this show. Cody Rhodes mentioned something maybe something CM Punk related. I don't remember what it was, but it was CM Punk related. And then tonight on Raw, Seth Rollins called himself the best in the world. Survivor Series just so happens to be in Chicago this November. Punk says that he is free for the next 2 months. What does that mean? I don't know. I'm not saying CM Punk is coming in to WWE, coming back to WWE. But it's not out of the realm of possibility under what the Triple H regime here. So let me know what you guys think. Do you think CM Punk has some part to play in this entire thing? Do you think if they do a 5-on-5 War Games match and they add Drew McIntyre to the team with JD McDonough and the rest of the Judgment Day? Do you think Punk will be that other guy, that fifth member? Do you think not? Do you think it's going to be a 4-on-4? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below here. But again, I thought Raw was a solid 8 out of 10 episode for me here. Coming up this week here, big busy week here for the Misfit Wrestling Podcast. Of course, still trying to figure out if I'm going to do NXT November Mercy or not in here. I will indefinitely do the finals of the 5-Star Grand Prix. That is this Saturday morning, but I'm going to do the review of that show later on in the afternoon. And then we got AEW Dynamite, the go-home show for Wrestle Dream on Wednesday. Also got Friday Night SmackDown here. Hopefully, we get confirmation of a rematch between IYO and Asuka at the pay-per-view for next weekend. And then we got, like I said, the 5-Star Grand Prix on Saturday. We also have NXT No Mercy. Whether or not I review that show, I'll let you guys know. We also have Wrestle Dream on Sunday. And something big apparently is happening with Tony Khan. He's teasing a new era will begin on Sunday night. Whatever that means, we'll let you guys know. We'll find out what that is. Until then, I've been Matt the Misfit. This has been the Misfit Wrestling Podcast. I will see you guys back here for Wednesday Night Dynamite. We're out.